Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 23 of the, oh no, day 22 of the July Leetcode Day Challenge. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me in Discord. Let me know what you think about today's poem. And we also have a weekly premium poem, so definitely check that out when I get to it, which is hopefully next. Uh, Today was a rest day. Needed a little bit of rest. Maybe it's fine. Just did a little bit upper body things. Um, Yeah, over the weekend, I just want to talk a little bit random today. So skip forward if you like. But I've been vibe coding over the weekend, and I would say because I think people ask me a lot about my opinion, and don't get me wrong, my opinion might change over time, but about AI and jobs and stuff. So I don't know, right? I mean, 5 years ago didn't dream about this scenario, so who knows where we'll be in 5 years, right? Um, or if there's even a world to be in 5 years, so who knows? But I think for me, it did a couple of things. One, the first is that it kind of reminds me of like a roguelike game. I feel like I'm like, in the roguelike games, you're like always re-rolling so that because your start is not good, so you have to start over and re-roll. That's basically how I felt. If you're like, I'm like, hey, come on. Like I'm asking you the same question like 5 times, but and then you have to kind of figure out like the right way to ask it, and that is like the thing, right? Is that, and I was just playing around, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was like, oh, I was describing like, hey, this thing is not working, and then it gives me a lot of stuff. I'm like, don't you think this is just like a race condition? And they're like, oh, yeah, it is, and then so I think my point there is not necessarily that you know that it is useless or whatever. I think it's definitely very helpful in saving me, especially since I was doing iOS stuff. So it's in the language Swift, which I imagine is one of the things that are easier to find things about, right? It's not that obscure. There's a lot of data to get mined or whatever. So maybe that's good, right? Um, but yeah, but I still think that, and I don't know anything about Swift, the language, that much. I mean, maybe a little bit more over the last couple of days, but I do know stuff about programming. So I do know what kind of patterns. I've done web stuff. I've done Java stuff, UI, React stuff like that, right? So I don't know. I just think it's interesting, but definitely it is not going to replace me anytime soon. Because and I was really hoping that I was like, because I was able to get like a good prototype really quickly, and that was very impressive. And I think that's what people like. But then as soon as I kind of got a little bit like tricky and edge cases and stuff like that, it was like, okay, well, I still have to figure out myself. So I don't know. But apparently it works for Leetcode because everything is well defined and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe. But yeah. Anyway, that is basically my kind of thing about it. So I don't know. For me right now, I consider it like a really dumb L3 engineer, like a junior engineer who could do a lot of code, but everything is directionless. No idea what they want to do. You have to like guide them and micro manage them every step of the way, and you have to check their work a lot. And then they get confused, and then you have to kind of explain to them. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it for now. Will things get better? Maybe. Right? I mean, these things don't always happen in a linear or exponential way. There's just like sigmoidy curve that not like self-driving cars have been um, they've been talking about self-driving cars 100% for the last 10 years, maybe even longer, right? It's been 5 years away for the last 10 years at least, maybe longer. I don't know the timeline anymore, so I don't know. Anyway, not sure if that's interesting. I don't know if I'm going to talk about like this is not meant to be a news channel or anything like that, but I do get that question a lot. Let me know in the comments if these are things that y'all think I should talk about sometimes, because I don't know, just kind of mix it up a little bit today. And it is something that I've been playing around with today anyway, or over the weekend anyway. Let's take a look at today's problem. We have 1695, maximum erasure value. You're giving away a positive integer nums and want to erase a subarray containing unique elements. The score you can get is erase a subarray is equal to the sum of the elements. The erase thing doesn't seem to do anything, right? You just want a subarray, and you want a subarray in which it has only unique elements, and you would get a maximum score. And this is a very standard sliding window problem, right? the thing about the invariant is just that when something become the idea behind these invariants is just that when you're having like a window, and maybe I'll do a longer window, right? When you have a window, and let's say this is the left side, and this is the right side, and the right side is not quite like fixed, right? The right side just means that this is the current cursor. At least that's the way I do it. You could do it the other way, of course. And then the left side is a representation of the farthest that it can go, right? So that's the part that's the invariant, is just that it is the farthest it can go. Because even if you move this a little bit to the left, like to the 2, then it will not be true. And because that will not be true, anything to the left will also not be true. So that's why sliding window works. That's the invariant that you see. And that's kind of like you eliminate everything. And in a way, it's like trying every possibility, but you're eliminating everything before that, right? And that's basically it. Yeah, so... So this is how I set up my sliding window. You go and yeah, that's why sometimes call it the contribution, because on the right side, you're getting, okay, if the right side is the last element in a subarray, in this case of a window, what is its best answer to you, right? And that's basically the idea. Here we want to say the erasing thing is just weird, but we want to keep a counter, and this is the frequency table of things inside the window, right? Window is in sliding window. Okay, now we want to stick this thing into the window, right? So then now, and of course, if you add this number, there can only be one way that a number is duplicate, right? Assuming that everything inside is already unique, there's only one way this is true, which is that, you know, while f of num sub, right? And you could do a little bit, I mean, based on this, you could be a little bit smarter if you really want to, in a sense that, you know, this is a 5, then you kind of just move left to the last 5 and so forth, right? Assuming that it is, you know. So there are things you can do, but I'm just going to keep it in the sliding window format. Oops. And the reason is just because I don't have to think about it, right? Otherwise, then now, and we have to keep track of the maximum sum, which I did not do. So then we just maybe do total is 0, 0. Total is the sum inside the window. So then now when we add something to the window, we just add it to the thing. And then when we subtract things from the window, we subtract it from the thing. And then of course we have a best, and then we are Gucci, right? And that should be good, assuming that I set this. And yeah, it looks okay. Give a quick submit. Hopefully I didn't rush it too much and made a silly mistake, which definitely happens. And yeah, this is gonna be linear time, linear space to do the counter. Like I said, you can probably jump ahead, right? This is O of n, but jumping ahead is still have the same case. Though I guess you can analyze it in a different way, in the sense that you could analyze it in terms of the number of unique things. But anyway, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and yeah, stay good, stay healthy, to mental health. Have a good week, everybody. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye bye.